Super League Live is back and better than ever. Today, me and Ard will go over Week 1 predictions, who's on a bye, who's about to play, who's going to get those coveted 3 points, and maybe some ties. We'll find out it all as we go to Super League Live 2025. Joining me will be Ard. Got Brad Sanford in the audience. I'm sure he'll make some predictions below in the chat. Ard, it's that time of year, buddy. Thoughts on Super League Week 1? We got some good matchups ahead.
Yeah, we really do. And there's some ones that are going to be discussed here. But there are also those two buys that get to at least take some good quality notes about everybody who they're going to face in the 4 weeks.
Yep, reminder, 4 weeks, for 4 games, 1 bye week. Every player picked a bye week. Before we get to week 1, we're going to go over the entire schedule of the round, and then we'll get you to the actual week 1 predictions R and I will make. We'll get you the schedule as well today. Short does a great job with the Super League graphic, the group stage. You'll see that in a second. R, before we get to that reveal, what has been this week ahead? I mean, what's been like the first week we've actually had Super League for the first time ever with this amount of media coverage? Remember, the first year we did do stuff, but it was, well, very minuscule. And last year we didn't have anything. Your thoughts on this week so far? It's been a solid week. We've had to make some changes due to the Super League reveal being a little off with Discord and some things that happened during the week. But your thoughts on what we've been doing so far with the media coverage, and this show's been doing pretty well for the most part.
Yeah, it's been doing pretty well. The media coverage been doing all right. And just think, once we get into finally seeing the games being played, oh boy, it's about to get ramped up so much. We're about to be on a rocket ship flying here for all the media stuff. So it's gonna get really action packed once we get into this. But it's been a lot of fun so far.
That's the name of the game, man. Have fun. Enjoy the coverage. Enjoy your time here. One thing I will point out, we have 20 straight days of coverage. I basically started on a 10. Now, we didn't have anything yesterday out of observance of 9/11, but we are ready to roll. We won't have any media coverage, it looks like, for week 4. I'll be gone that weekend, and unless someone wants to step the plate, I think most likely that's going to be a no-show on that, but we will have the rest of the days have some type of media. Remember, there's no media coverage during games, so today is a rare exception. We do have a game tonight, but there is no, for example, there's not going to be any media coverage during games. It's the games just play itself out. And then we'll have a 14th or 16th. We'll have some media coverage extended. We'll talk about the schedule a little bit. But yeah, we took a little break. We're back at it after not having anything yesterday and really abbreviated Wednesday because we're supposed to have a doubleheader. But we're back at it. R and I are ready to go. Let's get to that schedule. And if you see it on screen, we got an echo, buddy.
We got what?
Hear an echo from your end. Anyone else hear an echo? Brad? Oh, one second. Let me check my settings. Okay.
Amber says
might be on my end. I don't know. Oh, boy. Not as obvious. Okay. We'll see if it continues again. It's picking up on my OB. Like I said, we've had a lot of technical gremlins all week. We apologize, gremlins all week. We should be better in week 2 because we'll understand the full system, and now we understand the base. So we even had Ard leave Discord a couple times. All right, here's the schedule. Here we go. We're going to begin with every player, what bye they picked. So we'll start it off with the first week. Group A, Jay Caesar's on a bye. So that's Jay Caesar taking a bye in week 1. As he said best with Acosta in Group B, also taking a bye, 2 and 4 seeds. Remember, this is group seeds. What you see here, all group seeding. Caesar, we know, is the 14, Acosta, the 9 seed overall in Super League. But these are within the groups. It's easier for us. And week 1 schedule goes as follows. It's going to be Nick Brad, the highlight. I think it's the game of the week tonight, Friday night, prime time, 7 o'clock. Absolute banger in store. I cannot wait for Brad versus Nick. Nick versus Brad. It's going to be an absolute madness type game. Should be a fun one. Then, Tomorrow at 4 o'clock in Group A, we'll round it out with Lara gone for Group A. Should be a fun one with there as we have Ireland versus Canada. Tomorrow, it'll be tomorrow at 1 o'clock, goal versus backgrounds. Fitzy joins us. Goal background should be a fun one. Goal taking care of business against background in the Final Four and T4 rematch action. We're hoping Toaster and Monkey gets off at 7 o'clock on Saturday night. We're hoping. We don't have a confirmation yet. I'm going to have to declare something soon with that. I have to at least ask him what's going on. Really, Monkey's in. So we'll see what happens with that. We're supposed to be scheduled for 7 Saturday. And we'll see how that one goes. Week 2, it'll be Lara and Gold. The 3's on a bye. 3 seeds overall in each said group. Nick Caesar going to be the opening game for Caesar in Super League. It'll be a tough one. And then Brad Gone, Ireland versus Washington. Top 2 guys still playing week 2. That's interesting to keep in mind. Something we don't normally see. Usually you think one of them would pick, but we'll talk about them a little later. Then Toaster background. Toast back in the hunt with Acosta coming off a bye. Hasim Monkey. This should be interesting. Never play each other. And then Toasty background, of course, background destroying Toaster guy to get this said Final Four 5-1. That'll be a rematch, a revenge game for Toast. See if he can get the revenge. Then the big buys will be Nick, obviously, in Group A. Huge buy there. So it'll be Brad Lara, Group A, Week 3. At that point, Brad would have played his 3rd game, and Lara also will play his 2nd game, coming off the Week 2 bye. Caesar gone. As you can tell, Caesar now 2nd straight, and if you pick the Week 1 bye, you got to go 4 straight. Keep that in mind. Then we get the 1-2 in the groups, the 8-9. The match everyone's waiting for in Week 3. Toast Acosta, the rematch. Should be a fun one for both players. Toast, obviously, had the better of Acosta. We'll see how it goes with that one. Is someone wants to speak, Ard?
Oh, let me look. Oh, it's Fitzy.
Tell him we got to get through this. Hold on. Tell him we got to get through the graphic. Give us a second.
Hold on, Fitzy.
When we get through the graphic, hold on. Toast Acosta will be Week 3. Looking forward to seeing that one. A down under man, Crikey man versus Acosta. Then Gold Monkey. I don't think they've ever played each other, so that's going to be a first-time matchup. Should be a fun one. Then we got Nick Gone. Like I said, the Group A, they're all new matches. Nick and Gone will be fun. It's going to be a fun one between the top seed versus the bottom seed of the group. Week 4. Brad's on a bye. It'll be Lara Caesar. Good old Canada versus Brazil. Battle of North versus South America. Toasty Gold. That should be a fun one. Toast Gold, obviously. They know each other pretty well. Even though they never played each other, they do know each other well. And then Acosta background to close out Week 4 with Monkey on the bye. And that leaves Gone and Toaster. Now, Gone, understandable. Week 5 bye. Not a problem. We'll talk about Toaster in a second. Nick Lara will be an interesting one to say the least. It's going to be a fun one to see how Nick can navigate coming off that Week 3 bye in the last 2 games because he picked the first 2 middle portion off, the last 2 on. And then Brad Caesar should be a fun one. Both guys know each other. Caesar had complimented Brad in the past about his methodical style. We'll see where the point situation lines up and if Gone has enough points to get through or is he going to be skating bullets. Now, Toaster had the first choice of the bye and chose Week 1. So he's got to get off to a hot rocket start. It'll be a Monkey background versus Acosta Gold matchup in Week 5. We'll see if Toast has enough points to get to where he wants to be. Now we'll bring up Fitzwater real quick. He's got to get to work. We'll bring him up real quick. Ard, we'll go to you. Your thoughts on which matchups you like in the 5 weeks and thoughts on Week 1.
Out of all 5 weeks, of course, Nick Brad Week 1, that's going to be a good one. I do also like Nick Caesar Week 2 and Acosta Monkey Week 2 as well. Those are some good ones. Toaster Acosta Week 3 with Caesar Gone and Lara Caesar Week 4. And I think also Week 5, if it comes down to it, Monkey versus background Week 5. That could be a big one right there.
All right, Fitz. I know you got to get to work soon. What you got, my friend? What do you got? What do you want to say? Go ahead.
Can I do a heat check on
Why?
Monkey? Sure, why not? Monkey,
Oh,
you better
brother.
put your A game against Acosta. If you don't,
Fitz, that's week
you're
2,
gonna
man.
pay for it.
Anything else, Fitz?
Just say it. Just say it.
Anybody else?
Just say it. Monkey better play his A game. Anyways, I gotta get back to work, so
Okay.
gotta get that pun in.
No problem, man. Enjoy the club today, buddy. I'm sure you're having a great time over there. Anyway. Well, whatever.
Okay.
I don't even know. 1 second here.
That was unexpected.
Short civic. Whatever on that one. Art. Obviously, I think there's a couple highlights. I think Nick Brad's going to be the game of the week tonight. Group B, I'm not sure what to think about Group B, to be honest, because, yeah, Toasty Monkey's a rematch gold, and Background's a rematch. But I think the thing with those, the thing with those games, those are vengeance-seeking games, and sometimes past history says it's either A, going to end up in a tie, or it's just going to be a lopsided blowout. I'm not sure what to think about that. Week 2. Oh boy. Week 2, it's going to be more of how does Caesar and Acosta adapt off the bye. I'm interested to see what Nick can do against Caesar and Caesar against Nick. Acosta Monkey is going to be a war. I got a feeling. Background Toasty, a rematch there. Now, week 3, I believe, is the last rematch. It'll be Toasty Acosta. Then the rest of these matches have never happened. That's it. After that, who knows? Because no idea. I have no idea what to expect. Because once you get past week 3, it starts becoming about points and who's got the most points, and yeah, it could be a toss-up. Well, I'll go to you, Ard. I mean, out of all we'll go to the bye weeks first. Thoughts on Caesar and Acosta picking a bye? Your thoughts on them picking a week 1 bye? You like that? Do you think they could have picked something different? What do you think?
Well, here's the thing. Sometimes it's iffy with the week 1 buys because you got to think, all right, I'm going to take this week as observe everything, but then you got to play 4 weeks in a row of just trying to get points. You don't want to make a mistake in any of those weeks because that mistake might cost you a spot in the knockout stage.
I like the fact that they're taking notes. I think both guys taking notes. They're going to be fired up after we get to the week 2 session. Them taking notes, relaxing a little bit, getting a read on their opponents. Not a problem there. Week 2 buys, Lara Gold. I'm interested because Gold picked week 4 and had a chance to pick week 4 because Monkey was around after Gold. So Gold could have picked week 4, goes week 2. That's interesting. Lara, I think, just went simply with week 2 because that's what fit into his schedule. Thoughts on these guys with their bye picks, Art?
Week 2 buys. I think both of them have good picks there. Week 2 is all right. I think it's just let's see how week 1 works. Then try to go into week 2 just thinking what's the strategy base. But we'll see how those work.
Depends on the result of week 1. You don't want to get smoked 6-2 or, God forbid 7-1 or something. Or even you tied, you knew you had some games you threw. You got to sit on that for a week. Sometimes that could be the hit or miss with week 2. But Marigold's got experience. Lara, it fits in the schedule. Can't really complain. Nick and Background, not going to really say much about these two. This is Sanford. This is probably the best buy to pick if you can't get week 1 or 4 personally, because you get 2 on and then you can make adjustments for the second half of the tournament. or second half of the group stage. So I'm not going to say much about these two, and I think you'll agree with Ard. This is probably the right spot to do. Now, background's interesting. The only thing I will say, background getting the third by after not even getting a pick is interesting. So the field let a background get that one, but especially if you're toasty. Acosta, I understand. Varigal, I understand. Varigal experience. Acosta, I get it. Week 1, feel it out. Caesar week 1, but interesting that Toasty and Varigal who have experience let week 3 slip. Interesting. Thoughts on Brad and Monkey for week 4, real quick, Art? Go ahead.
Brad Monkey in week 4. This one's interesting, and I kind of want to throw this towards Monkey. If the first 3 weeks don't go well, it's gonna be trouble. I think Brad can handle himself going towards week 4. It's just he might also want to watch out a bit. It is one of those sorts of areas that if you're a good player and you know that you can handle yourself, that week is not going to be your worst problem. But if you're someone that is kind of topsy-turvy, almost like one of those 50-50 players, week 4 bye might not be the best, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think both guys know what they got to do. Brad, a veteran in Super League, now 2-timer. Monkey, yeah, sure, he may not be a vet in Super League, but I get why he picked that bye. It's an ideal, optimal placement for him. Try to build a little momentum and crush it in week 5. Not a problem there. Gone expected. Toaster guy picking week 5. Or your thoughts? Gone, we're not going to say much. He had no pick anyway. Your thoughts on Toasty picking the last spot? That's going to be all or nothing for in the first 4 weeks.
Toasty is just basically throwing a Hail Mary and seeing if somebody catches it. That is taking a risk and hoping for a good reward. And he's going to have to fight for 4 weeks to hope that once he gets into week 5, he has enough points to get in. That is going to be a big risk. And hopefully we'll see if it can work out.
Yeah, JT did it last year where he had enough points, and actually I think did pick week 5 and did get in, but this is a little bit different scenario because that was JT coming off a sweep of DJ or destroyed him. This is, or not, not sweep. He came off a big win off of somebody. This is a little bit different now. Toast probably has to look at this and say 2 wins, 2 ties, 8 points is probably going to be the goal. That's what he's looking for. If he can get a win against Monkey and Background, he gets this 2 wins. And if he can get ties against Acosta goal or even get another win, he's probably going to be in. Toaster guy definitely going to look for the right formula to get those first 4 weeks and then rest up. And if he can rest up, that's not the worst bye to have, to rest up a little bit. And then basically go into October fresh. Right? You know, you'll have to go to the round 12, but you go October fresh. You can see what happens. So I like everyone's predictions on the bye. I think everyone except for the people that really weren't supposed to pick Gone and Background. Background lucked out. Gone obviously stuck. Toasty's an interesting one. Maybe using the JT experience. Nick's got a perfect bye. Background, I said goodbye. I like Brad there because he's got the EXP and try 3 weeks and see what you got to do for week 5. Set it up. Monkey will be interesting. Golera, they're expecting big week 1 results for sure. Week 1, did it before, been there, done that. Just kind of use the notes in the first week and see what you can do for your next opponent. So Acosta will look at what Monkey can do, and for Caesar, look what Nick will do tonight. Basically, that's the plan for those guys in week 1. But let's get to it, Art. It's prediction time. Who do you got? Nick, Brad. The game tonight, 7 o'clock. Prime time, 1-2. The best 2 players in Group A. And to be honest with you, probably that's 2 out of the 4 best players, I think, in this format deep down. Even though Nick's never been here, I got a feeling he's going to be on chip. We know what Brad can do. Toasty can do. Varigold. Those got to be the 4. Thoughts on this one? This is going to be a game of the week. What do we think?
It's going to be a good game, and I think it's going to come down to basically a final game to determine either somebody getting a point and this being tied. I somehow will think Brad will get those extra points because I would predict Brad gets the win 5-3.
All right, Bad Brad 5-3 says Pro Checker. Brad, your thoughts on this game? Feel free to type it if you want. Not a problem, man. I don't know. This one's interesting because I think both guys are going to be on the chip. We know Nick's a guy that has multifaceted looks in his game. We know Brad is a guy that is very good with the methodical play style. I'm going to go with a tie. I think this one's going to end up in a tie.
Oh boy.
I think the fact that they're both on the chip, they're going to both be pushing the boundaries. I've seen how this goes with these hype matchups before. They're just they're both too good. I think this one will be a tie. At the end of the day, though, it's going to be it's going to come down to one or two cards. No power play. It's going to come down to one or two cards. Otherwise, it'd be otherwise, it's going to be a little bit of back and forth for the most part. To Ard, we'll go to the next game, which is going to be Lara Gon in this group. Obviously, Lara coming in as a Super League rookie, Gon a straight rookie. I have no idea on this one. This is a tougher one to predict. Who do you think is going to win? A lot of inexperience here in this format, but yet good seasons somehow.
This one's difficult to really think about because both of them have some interesting ways, but I somehow think this one might end up in a tie.
Tie here. I'm going to say Lara gets it done 5-3. I'm going to agree with Dan. I think the one thing Lara has going for him, and I could be wrong, is Lara knows how to play this more multifaceted, tricky style against Gon. Gon has a tricky style. It's peculiar. Lara has played enough players where peculiar wins. Let's go back to Monkey. I think he'll have something for him. No power play, too, will definitely favor, I think, both. But I think Lara, with the experience of having played no power play a long time ago, will be enough. Cards will probably come down to more ammo control at the end of the day, so I'll go Lara 5-3. If that's the case, then Lara would lead the group, ironically, and then Caesar would come back. Not a bad position at all. Group B, Toaster Monkey Yard. If we get that game up tomorrow at 7, we should be able to, but I'll check back in and declare something later. Thoughts on this one?
This one's a bit interesting.
Rematch, too. Rematch, yeah.
It's a rematch, yes, but also some people are kind of a bit iffy about how Monkey's going to be able to play. And that might be where Toasty might take advantage of, and that's only if. If Toasty can take advantage of the unknowingly status of Monkey, I somehow think Toasty could win this one, and not to try to downplay on Monkey here, but I might say this might be a 6-2.
Toaster 6-2, man. Rematches can go either way. It's either going to be a blowout or a tie. I think Toast has more on the line for this game. Monkey's been slumping. I'm actually going to say this one's going to be a tie. As crazy as it sounds, I think they're going to both be on the chip. And in a rematch, it's either going to be a tie or a blowout. I'm going to go with the tie. I think Toast knows that he can afford 2 ties and 2 wins. I think he's got a better chance, believe it or not, to beat Background or Gold or Acosta. I think Monkey ironically figured something out when they play, so I'll go tie here, but it will be close, and I'll say as much. I would lean more towards the Toaster to win 5-3, if anything, but I think Monkey will have enough to tie. and put some of those demons to rest. But it's going to be an uphill road for both these guys, I think, when we get to the weeks 3 and 4 especially. Our last matchup, Gold Background, another rematch. Gold took care of business against Background to get to the Final Four. Background played a close 1-6-4. This one's a little harder. This was a closer rematch. I like Monkey destroying Toasty back and all the way. But that was close too, 4-3, but it was a little bit more of a blowout in terms of Monkey just had way more composure than Toasty. Thoughts on this one?
This one's a bit interesting. I think both players are going to play interesting here, but I'm going to somehow think this one's going to be a tie.
Yeah, how does that make sense? Elaborate.
How does that make it?
Wait, well, what?
Damn, how does that make any sense?
Well, I think Varigold has Background's number. I'm going Gold 5-3. For some reason, I think Gold knows Background style, knows how to play those long, lengthy runs. And we're talking about Gold who's got extreme confidence in this format. Probably has the most experience in this format, with all due respect to really anybody, because you got to think about it. Nick never been in this format, the group stage. Brad never been in a group. Larry gone, no group. Caesar first timer, no group. The only person that's been in group stage has been Toast. And yes, Toasty got out of groups last year, but the difference was Toast had a scrap to get out, man. Gold back in 23 was just comfortably in. Was the top of the group, pretty much, for the most part, until really the end, actually. If that was the top of the group, was the one seed entering. Yeah, I think this is Gold's game to lose. Looking at it, I think it's Gold and Toasty's group to lose, personally. I think we both made predictions. I know you had Monkey in there, Ard, but I think this is Gold's time. Gold's got to make something to happen here and go from there. The rest of the weeks we'll save for week 2 preview. We'll talk about some recaps of week 1, but I'm looking forward to it, man. You know, I wrote down our predictions. Let's see here. Just go to yeah. You had Nick, Brad gone. I had you had Nick, Brad gone. I had Nick, Brad, Caesar. You had Acosta, Monkey, Toasty. I had Toasty, Acosta, Gold. So about the same, except you have Monkey and I got Gold. You have gone. I have Caesar. Pretty linear, I'm going to say, on the predictions. Nothing too crazy. Any final words, man? Thoughts on the round overall? And let's get on, man. I'm ready. This is it.
Well, it's going to be an exciting way to get Super Elite started. I'm ready to get going here. Let's get it going.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it's always interesting in week 1. You know, it's very linear sometimes, where you think, it'll be blowouts. Not really. Sometimes you can get 4 ties, man. Or sometimes you think you get 4 ties and you get 4 blowouts. Or sometimes you get, 4, 5 threes and it's 4 ties. You never know how this is going to work. Sometimes you get a mix. One group is really close and the other group is a blowout. But I will say, Group A, it's hard to really say if one game is going to be a blowout because we've never seen anybody play. Every week will be a new match. Whereas Group B, week 1, all rematches. Week 2, rematch. Week 3, there's a rematch. And we've never seen Toast play Gold, and if we did, it's been a long time. And I don't believe Acosta's played Gold, and I don't believe Monkey's played Background, and I don't believe Acosta's played Background. So, a lot more rematches in the second half of the second group. The week 1s will definitely be a baseline, especially when Acosta and Caesar get back, because those guys will have a unique perspective for sure. One more time, I'll put the screen up with the Super League group stage. Should be a fun one. As I said, the following schedule: week 1, it'll be tonight, 7 o'clock, the closest you can get to prime time with Brad and Nick. Then we got Larry gone tomorrow at 4. That'll end the Group A there, and then week 1 for Group B will begin at 1 tomorrow with very gold background, and then hopefully I'll get a confo on Monkey and Toast at 7 o'clock to round out Group B for week 1, and then we'll begin week 2. And well, before we go, we always got to get you to that schedule, and here's the schedule as follows. Your 4 games coming up this weekend. Should be an easy 4-pack of games. Looking forward to that. Then, should be a fun one. 8 o'clock Eastern. We're going to get Varigold on interview. That will be fun. We'll get Varigold on interview talking about what's the Gold 24K Magic been like. A little bit about Gold School. What Gold did in week 1. Did he get her done against background? Be a fun pro check right there. Then Monday will be basically 24 hours later. We'll do another pro check. Well, Lara Huo. Should be a fun one. That's going to be at 8 o'clock. The recap of Super League Live recap in 30 seconds or 40. That might be moved to Monday in the afternoon. That Tuesday might be reserved just for the week 2 predictions at 7 o'clock. Because that won't be a longer show, because we'll have to talk about week 1. We'll start talking about scenarios. Today was kind of a short show because we don't have any previous matches. So we can't wait for that for week 2. Then we'll have more to talk about. So that first recap might be moved to Monday at 3 or 2. Potentially, I'll talk to Art about that. We'll look into moving that. And then that will do it. Then we'll go to the 17th and 18th. We'll have some more games for week 2. And then we'll begin we also have an interview with Toaster Guy on the 19th. Now, remember, if we do have to get the 19th to play games, we'll still have this interview, but just keep that in mind. It is a 3-day week next week to play, just in case. But if not, it'll be the 19th and the 20th for Media Day coverage. And we're going to try to play that 21st. We're going to try to get that 21st in. Have 2 media days, because we do want people to play on a Sunday. It makes things go better. That's it for us. We got a packed week ahead. Thanks to Ard. Thanks to Sanford Brad, Cody Smart, Red Puzzle for coming in here. Ladies and gents, 7 o'clock tonight. It's about to get on. Downtown style, prime time, under the lights in the BKK. So what the cup, so what the Thorn Yen. Kopkun Cup. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a good one. We'll see you tonight. 7 o'clock. Should be a fun one with Brad and Nick to kick off Super League 2025, the BKK. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you then.